Welcome back to 5 Minute Fantasy Football, presented to you by the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Today, we're going to talk about the Chargers. They've had a very busy offseason. The Chargers lost a lot of their weapons. Austin Ekeler, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams are gone. They've added J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards to go with Greg Roman and his run-first offense. Jim Harbaugh has definitely put his stamp on things, letting these pass catchers leave. And then he even passed up on Malik Neighbors to go and draft Joe Alt. We know what they're going to do, and what does that mean for Justin Herbert? What does that mean for this offense? Well, let's see what Mike Clay has projected. We got Mike Clay's projections. We've also got the ADP for these players, so you can talk about not only what the projections are, but where are they currently being drafted. And let's look at it. Before we do that, make sure you go to Underdog Fantasy, use Underdog, use promo code FFSGPN so they know we sent you. And they have season-long pick'ems. And so their higher or lower prop for Justin Herbert is 3,600.5 yards. Mike Clay has him projected to not hit that mark in 15 games. Obviously, if he had 17 games, then Mike would have him projected to hit the higher. What do you think about that? Again, promo code FFSGPN over at Underdog. Justin Herbert, he's got him down for 495 attempts, 322 completions, 3,559 yards, 23 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, finishing as the running back 16. He's got some modest rushing, 257 yards and 2 TDs on the ground, not Lamar Jackson type of numbers. We've seen Herbert run the ball a little bit, but we've also seen Herbert get hurt. In the last couple of seasons, he's not been able to run the ball because he's been hurt. And so if he were to have more rushing, obviously that adds some upside to him. And it's something that's in his bag. He can do it. But the way Mike has him projected is pretty much exactly where they have him. It's QB 16, pick 120. Not a lot of people are going after Herbert unless it's a super flex league. Now, the backfield is interesting because the way the ADP currently is, Gus Edwards is RB39 and Dobbins is RB43. Mike's got flip-flopped. He's got Dobbins RB35 and he's got Gus Edwards finishing as RB38. Pretty even split. I know there's a lot of love in the streets for Kamani Vidal. We'll see if Edwards and Dobbins can stay healthy. But he's got J.K. Dobbins for 149 attempts, 744 yards, 4 touchdowns, and he's getting a little bit more receiving work than Gus. 30 receptions for 212 yards and a touchdown, finishing as the RB35. Again, he's currently being drafted as RB43. It's a pretty good value. Here Daniel Jeremiah famously said on draft day, if you play fantasy football, draft J.K. Dobbins. This guy is coming off of not only of an Achilles injury, but the year before was an ACL. I'm not sure if I can buy into this, and we'll see if Dobbins is even healthy to start the season. But coming off of an Achilles, I'm not very interested in Dobbins. I would be much more interested in Gus Edwards, and he's got Dobbins playing 13 games. Gus Edwards, he's got him playing 14 games, 180 carries, 760 yards, 6 touchdowns. I think he can, if he gets more carries than that. This guy had 10 plus rushing touchdowns last year. And he didn't even start the full season. Dobbins got hurt. So Gus Edwards, I think, starts the season off as their starter. And I don't see why he doesn't get 10 rushing touchdowns. 760 yards, 6. And in the air, he's only got 17 receptions for 134 yards and 1 TD. So again, in your PPR formats, these guys are going to be a little bit lower. And if they do split the carry where they're basically, 50-50 timeshare, I can understand, shying away from these guys. But honestly, I think Gus Edwards is a guy that I'm liking as my fourth, third or fourth running back, sometimes your fifth running back. But right now he's going off the board as RB39, pick 111. You're almost in double-digit rounds at that point. And this guy is double-digit, upside if Dobbins were to not stay healthy or not come back the way he's hoping to come back. I think Gus Edwards could be, a guy that gets a ton of red zone touches and double-digit touchdowns. He's got the receiving going to Ladd McConkey, but it is pretty evenly split. You have 98 targets going to McConkey. You have 82 targets to Palmer, 76 to QJ, Quentin Johnston, and then DJ Chark getting 70. So it's very evenly split. He's got them finishing, Ladd McConkey finishing at wide receiver 48, Josh Palmer, wide receiver 66, Quentin Johnston, wide receiver 72, DJ Chark, 78. So basically don't draft anybody from the Chargers. And if they do split it up that way, then of course not. McConkey is, he's projected more of a slot receiver, which could limit his reps and his options. But McConkey did play outside. Just so everyone's clear, in Georgia, he played outside. He's not just your slot guy. He does project to be more of a slot receiver. But if McConkey were to get out there in 2 receiver sets with Palmer, then you could see an uptick in production. But right now, the projections are for Palmer and either Quentin Johnston or DJ Chark to be their outside guy. And then, of course, don't sleep on Brennan Rice there at the end. Then back to the tight end position. He's got Hayden Hurst finishing as the tight end 24. He's currently being drafted as tight end 37. So he might be someone you're interested in. Will Dissly's also on the team as well, Stone Smart and Donald Parham. But he's got Hayden Hurst going 41 receptions, 393 yards, and 3 touchdowns, finishing as tight end 24. But again, back to the receivers. Josh Palmer is a guy that I'm interested in. He's a guy that's shown it. He's a guy that's got some, he's got some continuity with Justin Herbert. And I know he's not a sexy wide receiver 1, and everyone wants the rookie. But Palmer's someone that's done it, and he's getting drafted right now as the wide receiver 57 at pick 151. Ladd McConkey is going off the board as wide receiver 44, pick 101. I'd rather take the shot on Palmer than I would McConkey at this point. I do think both guys are very similar, but Palmer is going to be the cheaper option. And again, he's going to be the outside guy. He's going to be probably the number 1 receiver on this team as far as targets and as far as opportunities. And I'm going to take Palmer, even though that's not what Mike Clay has. So, again, this is 5 Minute Fantasy Football. This is Los Angeles Chargers. As always, good luck this season.